Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome along to another edition of Inspire and Be Inspired. Just doing a very quick tech check to make sure that we're live and we're streaming and everything appears to be wonderful. Welcome along. I can see that Mr. Jefferson is with us nice and early. Hi, Jeff. Thanks for the support, bro. That's what we like. That's what we like to see. Um, I did mention last week on the show that I will also be sending this out as a podcast and it's available for people to watch again. So just to clarify, we are live. It is Saturday the 13th of March, just after 4 o'clock here in Spain, 3 o'clock in the UK. And there's dogs barking outside. I was interviewing somebody the other week actually, and I was like, can you stop the dogs barking? And then I realized it's dogs here that I've never actually heard before. So you're going to have to forgive me if you get crazy dog barkings all the way through this show. Colin Williams, good afternoon, sir, and welcome along to everybody that's joining us live and will continue joining us live. Inspire and Be Inspired is a catchphrase that I've been using myself for a long time now, well into 10-15 years, and it's an ethos that I believe we should all live by. You should never be too important to be inspired by others, and you should never ever cease trying to inspire others as well. And I've got two gentlemen who are going to help me inspire you today, and we'll get to know all about those. I say it every time, by the wonders of modern technology, I can turn the channel up and I can go across the globe to today's guests. In the top window we have Mr. Lenny Fontana, and in the bottom window we have Anthony Quinn. So first of all, Mr. Fontana, can you please tell the lovely people where you are broadcasting from today?
Fortunately, in New York City, it is now 10:03 in the morning, so I got up nice and early to deal with Mr. Ward. Thank you for having me.
I've got to thank you very much for doing that as well. I appreciate it at short notice as well. I love you for that, brother. And Mr. Anthony Quinn, where in the world are you?
Hey, I am in Bangkok, in Thailand. It's actually 10 p.m. here, so I've stayed up nice and late to,
Yeah.
to get this podcast done.
You,
So
you sound very much like me, actually, saying that you stayed up late, because anything
no,
after 10 o'clock, I'm struggling to
bad,
be
isn't it?
awake.
A Saturday night, and I'm talking about being up late.
Well, we won't talk about it too much, but are you under any crazy restrictions there at the moment because of the whole COVID thing?
Do you know what? It's actually quite good here. Thailand, I won't go into too much detail, but Thailand's basically kept it under control for various reasons pretty well. There's only been 80 deaths in total, right, in the last 12 months. So they had a bit of a scare, so a little bit of a breakout in mid-December. So they went into kind of this lockdown again over the country. And we've just come out of that again now, really. So everything's more or less back to normal. I mean, you've got the social distancing and the mask wearing, but apart from that, it's pretty much all good. Everything's open and it's more or less back to normal,
Right.
apart from a couple of things.
Good. So that's what we've all got to look forward to. Mr.
Yep.
Fontana, I was listening to somebody last night talking on Clubhouse discussing about America is already starting plans to start opening events listed for the end of April and stuff. Is that correct? Is that wrong?
Look, there's 5 states that are completely open already: Texas, Florida, North Dakota, South Dakota, Idaho, and if you can gather, those are red states, meaning
Okay.
Republican run.
Mm-hmm.
Florida's already been doing it, Governor Abner of Texas exclaimed that no more control from the government. Free market is wide open, basically saying, oh, COVID's over.
Yeah. Two fingers up to everyone.
It's like, really, that's, New York slowly, they've been opening things. Places are going to be somewhat 30 to 40% filled than their normal occupancy. But to be quite fair, the nightclub scene will probably be the last, to be realistic,
Mm-hmm.
when that does. But it's going to be more like restaurant, cinema. Broadway hasn't even opened yet.
Crazy. It's
So
immense.
April, they're looking at April 15th. But the Biden's plan is to get the first 100 days. He wants to get, I guess, 100 million people vaccinated. They're moving quick.
They're going
So we'll see
fast.
how it goes.
Okay, well, I just wanted to give a quick overview because we're all in different parts of the world. I think it's interesting for people to see. We got Mr. Eric Miller, eSmooth, with us live. Good morning, sir. Nice to see you there. Also, Neil Pierce, good afternoon. And Neil, I'm glad you're here actually because I'm sporting a t shirt that I'm sure will put a big smile on your face. I got to big up my chest and give love out to a gentleman that has inspired so many of us, Mr. Paul Trouble Anderson. May he
The
rest in
godfather of
peace.
soulful house music.
Indeed,
Bingo.
indeed. And Lenny, I know you've lost some friends very recently, so my condolences to you. I've said on many occasions to a few of my friends, actually, they've expressed frustration at how many people that we're losing. And I said, guys, listen, you need to deal with it, as harsh as that sounds, because it's not going to get any easier anytime soon. You know, this getting old lark ain't no joke.
It's true. It's like being in. They say it's like being in a war. This thing, you just don't know. One minute everything is fine. Next minute everybody around you is gone. You just have to survival of the fittest at this stage, and just try to stay positive
Hmm.
and hope to get through it all.
It
You
is.
know,
Well, we'll
vigilance is the key.
indeed.
Vigilance is the key with anything. You have to be up on what's going on so you know how to maneuver.
Well, we'll get deep. We'll get nice and deep a little later on, I'm sure. Just taking a quick look at who we have with us live. I think that's everybody. And feel free to ask any questions as the conversation continues, guys, live. So thanks for being here. So I think we really need to get into this and discuss this week's topics. First of all, Anthony, I've come to yourself because you run a company called Lodestar Marketing with a D.
Yep.
I was saying Lone Star in my head, and I know it's Lodestar Marketing. You approached me a while ago talking about affiliate marketing and other possible avenues of revenue. And I said, I don't really think it's something that I myself am in a position to use or would really benefit from. And I wanted to bring you on today to tell me direct if that is still the case. And also a lot of people who have their own businesses, their own websites, thinking of possibilities of moving forward. It's an open-ended conversation, really. So start at the beginning and let me know exactly what Lodestar is about.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, thanks for letting me on as well. It should be hopefully interesting for everyone. But yeah, basically, Lodestar has just been launched literally 3 months ago. Um, Basically, what it is, it's just an agency that helps advertisers here that basically want to sell more of what they've got, whether it's a product or a service, through the affiliate marketing channel, which is what I can talk about in more detail. Simply because over here in this region, I'm talking about Southeast Asia, it's still really, really young, and there's not much experience, and there's not many people out here that really know deep down how to run the channel really properly. There's a few spatterings of people, but not many at all. So me and a colleague basically just put this together with the intention really of trying to educate the whole region, as play an important part in basically maturing that market and helping these advertisers to get up to speed with selling more of what they have. So yeah, it's very, very young at the moment. My background is affiliate marketing, has been for sort of 20 years, starting off at game stores, which I think is still going in the UK, video games retailer. So I was working on their marketing, online marketing division there, and then since then I've been working in different roles within affiliate marketing as well. So the I think the reason why I set up the agency is actually similar to why I've jumped onto this podcast, because we just want to help people to be more effective or learn a new way of potentially using the channel to bring in some income, or if they've already got a business, to try and help them to sell more as well.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a very basic and very obvious question. if you are able to give a succinct answer, what is affiliate marketing?
So, yeah, good question. It's basically a marketing channel that allows an advertiser. And when I say an advertiser, I'm talking about, let's say, a retailer or a travel company, anyone that sells a product or a service. It's a channel that helps them to sell more of what they have.
Okay.
If you think about companies that advertise on Facebook and have an offer on Facebook and have a product to sell, or you have a company that advertises on Google, so that's like the top one or two slots when you search for something. Affiliate marketing is just another form of that type of advertising, I guess, that that helps these advertisers to sell more.
Okay.
Um,
Is it similar to Google Ads? Is that class as affiliate marketing, or is that something totally separate?
No, it's separate. I think the main difference with affiliate marketing, there's a couple of differences. The first one is the way the model works and people are paid, right? So for Google and to advertise on Google, you pay Google every time someone clicks on a link and goes through to your website. Um, with affiliate marketing, basically what you do is you pay a company or a person a percent of the sale that they've helped to generate for you. So to put it in kind of like layman's terms, I guess it's a network. Affiliate marketing is a network of virtual salespeople that are helping you to sell something.
Okay.
You award them a commission on that sale every time it happens. So it's actually a really good channel for advertisers because they're only paying a commission once a sale has happened as well. Whereas for
Okay.
Google, you're going to pay for the click and you might not end up getting the sale, but you still had to pay Google for the click.
Hmm.
So for the advertiser, it's a really nice model because they know how much commission they're going to be paying every time. There's not a bidding system like Google, and it's actually actually an attractive channel for publishers. And when we say publishers, and maybe I should just step back a bit. So affiliate marketing is comprised of publishers, and these are the websites or the people or the companies that are promoting the advertisers to try and help them to sell more stuff. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. For me, totally.
Okay, cool. So that's essentially it. The affiliate marketing is a network of all of these publishers that are connected to one or more advertisers and are helping them to sell a product or service. I can give you some examples of, I guess, of affiliate marketing play in general. Let's say you go to compare.com. It's like
Hmm.
an insurance comparison website. As a user, you go on there and you compare the different offers from different companies. And what they're doing is they're supplying content to allow you to make a decision on what company that you want to take the insurance out on. And when you click through and you purchase that insurance plan, compare.com will get, compensation of some sort, whether it's a commission on the sale or a fixed amount of money that that they receive because they've generated that lead. You think of another one. For example, have you heard of cashback websites
Yeah.
like Quidco or Top Cashback?
Hmm.
Okay, so that's a prime example of affiliate marketing in play. So you as a customer, you go onto Quidco, you join as a member, and you choose where you want to shop, and you might have like a choice of 1,000 different stores. But let's say that today you want to shop at Halfords and you want to, buy a new car stereo. You go onto Quidco, you go to Halfords store page on Quidco, then you just click through and you shop as normal. If you then make a purchase on Halfords, that transaction gets recorded, and then Halfords pay Quidco a commission for that sale.
Right.
And actually, what Quidco does is they take that commission and then they give that back to you as a user, as a member,
Okay. Right. So I know there's
as
the whole
cashback,
cashback
essentially.
sites. I see a lot of people sharing information on that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people are really into that. It's a big thing. This is all
Yeah.
you all relate to all of this, don't you, Lenny? Right? You are fully up to speed with all of this.
Oh, it's funny he mentioned that because I was on Select Quote looking for my wife's life insurance policy. So I understand what he and it's so funny when he said that or car insurance, a perfect example. You're able to look quickly, put in some key words that you need to address, and next thing you know, you got, or should I say, you will have in front of you 10 or 15 different places to go. So for the person, or for example, Geico, the insurance companies, Travelers, and William Penn, what a fantastic, great place, because you're driving all this into one area and people able to shop till they drop. And I'm seeing that with so many different types of situations now. What's very scary is for some of us is that you're talking with your friends and the smartphone is next to you. And all of
I
a
know what you're
sudden,
going to say. I know what you're going to say.
here we go. I'm mentioning, I got a pain in my arm or my molar. And I start seeing Dr. Bales, dental, person that works for bursitis for your arm. So the phone is listening and then keyword and clicking on keywords.
Is that true, Anthony? Can you dispel that myth, or can you say no, that is actually
That's a
fact?
good point, though, right?
Is it? Yeah, but is it
Yeah.
not? Is it not down to our search history and our cookies, or is it actually audibly listening?
Well, do you know what? The official stance from like companies like Facebook and stuff is that they don't listen to your conversations and then retarget you with relevant offers. But the thing is, it's happened to me as well, right? Being in the industry, it still happened to me, where I swear that I haven't searched or anything. I've just verbally I've talked about something, and then I've been retargeted. So we're signing up to something somewhere in the terms and conditions of whether it's Facebook, whether it's Apple, whatever it might be. It's giving them permission somehow, I think, to utilize that technology, because it's happened to so many people.
Yeah, and everyone's up in arms about the whole Alexa thing in your house and the
Oh, she listens to everything, Andy.
it's the only female in the house that does.
She knows every move. Honey, do this for me. She's got 5 answers already. You're like, wait. How do you know what I'm thinking? She's listening 24/7 a day. Come on.
It's brilliant. Okay, Anthony. So how do we relate all of this back to someone who's watching this, thinking, okay, I'm interested. How does this affect me?
Yeah, cool. So so hopefully I've given a good enough background, and then I guess the question to ask now is how could anyone that's listening utilize that channel? How could they use this channel in some way? So what I wanted to talk about a bit more is about someone becoming a publisher, right? So rather than talk about an advertiser, so someone might have a business already and they want to sell more things, I kind of want to take it down the publisher track. There's affiliate marketing is just immense, so I could be on it for hours, and so I'm just going to talk on the publisher side. So because a lot of the information that you see online, if you search for, what is affiliate marketing, how do I make money on affiliate marketing, you're probably going to get like results that are usually tied into like, how I made £10,000 a month, through Amazon and things like that, right? They're really like they glamorize kind of content articles that are just trying to sell you their content or something else or some kind of membership. So it's not really useful information that's out there. So that's why I wanted to share some of the ideas of me. But basically, what I want to ask basically, or get people to think about who are listening, is that is there any subject matter? Is there anything that you're passionate about, that you have the knowledge about? It's something that you could just talk about, or you do already. Maybe you talk about something with your peers or your family, whatever. and you could talk hours on end because you know so much about this subject matter. Because what you potentially can do is get that out onto paper, and when I say paper, I mean a blog of some sort online, and use that content to then monetize through affiliate marketing, and whether that's promoting certain products, certain services. I was just sort of thinking, okay, how could it be applied? But let's just say,
Well, let's say someone has a really, really growing YouTube channel interviewing superstars around the world. For example, how could somebody like that who's just built their own website, maybe in New York City, how could they utilize this?
I mean, it depends, like, what you want to be trying to monetize, right? In terms of the music scene, I guess you could be talking about music hardware, software, equipment, things like that. And there's going to be a store somewhere that sells exactly what you're talking about, or you're recommending, or you're reviewing. So, and the likelihood is that they've probably got an affiliate program. So what they're doing is they're allowing publishers to come and join that program, take a link that is unique to that specific publisher, and you can use that link then to say, okay, here's the review of what we talked about on YouTube. This is why I recommend it, and here's a link if you want to go and buy that product. And you can be transparent. You can say, look, if you do click on this link, then I receive a commission. So it could be utilized perhaps in that way, in YouTube conversations that you're having, and maybe thinking about the keywords that you've talked about and monetizing those keywords in terms of linking to products or services that you have been talking about. So that could be one.
Cool, fantastic, very, very interesting. It's actually changed my perception of how I thought it all worked, and the reason why, when we spoke a while ago, I said, well, I'm not sure that I have enough traffic through some of the sites that I work with, some of the websites that I build, some of my own websites. For example, let's talk about Vocal Booth Weekender. That has a very specific network of people that I target and I attract. Would I benefit from having like a core 1,000 people who visit the website and utilize it? And you only get paid when they click through and purchase things. It's not about people seeing the adverts and you getting paid for it. Is that correct? Like maybe how YouTube works?
Yeah, exactly. That's the way that the affiliate channel works, is that it's what we call a cost per sale model, right? So it's commission based on an action, whether that's a sale or a lead of some sort. Yeah, again, it depends. It depends on what you really wanted to do. Like, first of all, what you wanted to sell, whether it's a product or service. So I know maybe you touched on before, like using affiliate marketing to allow people to click through your links and book flights, for example, or if they wanted to book hotels, anything like that. I suppose that could be used in that kind of niche base that you have. But yeah, I mean, like you said, it's I guess the work involved in making this channel work for you, building up the eyeballs, right? So getting more and more people to subscribe and watch and listen and read your content. So I was just trying to think of examples of how it could link into anyone that's listening. And I was thinking, what if anyone's like really into mechanics, for example, or electronics in some way, that just loves to talk about what they're doing, and they could translate that into a blog. And I can talk about how to, and you can probably add to that as well in terms of how to set up a blog and stuff, because that's quite easy. But maybe, like you said as well, I think earlier when we were chatting, you said there's a few people out there that are travel agents, right? So what a lot of people do that are travel agents is they use affiliate marketing, because they're potentially, if they're booking for clients or people on like the comparison sites or direct with the airlines online, and they're just going straight to the website, let's say ba.com, or they're going straight to hotels.com and they're making a booking, and they're doing that on a regular basis, right? Because they're a travel agent.
Mm-hmm.
Why not become a publisher and use your own affiliate link when you're making those bookings every time, and get commission on those
Yeah, so
bookings
you're
directly
getting
from the
paid
other
for,
side?
in your old school terms, you're getting paid for word of mouth
Yeah,
referrals.
exactly. Because it's, it's if you're doing that action anyway, why not get paid on that as well through affiliate marketing? So that's an example as well. And then I
Brilliant.
was thinking, about people actually in the VB circle that I see on my feed on Facebook, and a couple sort of jumped out at me, and one was Dean Jacobs, who obviously you guys know, and I'm sure most people know of through attending VB, but he's quite an expert on Adidas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trainers. He's got quite a collection, and he's it seems like he's passionate about that particular fashion item. So there's no reason why he, for example, could then build a blog, talk about the history of Adidas, the trainers, what they mean, what are these different models, blah blah blah, what he recommends, where he can get them, and then use affiliate marketing to actually link off to all the different retailers, whether it's adidas.com, could be JD Sports, could
Mm-hmm.
be any other sports shops that have an affiliate program in anywhere in the UK. He could be targeting US audiences, so he could go to footlocker.com and get commission off anyone that's clicking through.
So
The key,
I saw somebody mention earlier, forgive me for interrupting you, and they're saying isn't affiliate marketing basically influencer marketing, which will tie into what you're saying. That's how all of these influencers are working, right?
yeah,
And making all of
yeah,
their money.
that's a good point. Yeah, influencer marketing has kind of like come into the spotlight, and it dips into affiliate marketing, but it's become so important, especially for advertisers, that it's become its own channel in a sense as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get influencers that work through the affiliate channel, and usually and they might have 10k plus 100k plus followers through their social media, and may work on a compensation model like the affiliate cost per sale. But the typical model for influencer marketing now is usually like upfront payment with maybe something on top as well, especially the larger ones, right? The demanding.
Just credibility by association kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And
Sponsorship.
yeah, and what you said about influencer marketing and how this ties into what I was talking about, there is a link. It's kind of that, but you're using because obviously the biggest influencers have made a name for themselves, maybe through other means, like they could have been like singers or whatever. They've had a name for themselves and they've grown on that themselves. But if you're an expert in a particular field, and you can build up that kind of that trusted advisor status, right, on that particular subject matter, then
Mm-hmm.
people are going to listen to you, and they're going to want to get the knowledge from you. And if you can build something that's like just like a content blog, right,
Mm-hmm.
that you keep updated with fresh content, then you can utilize affiliate marketing to try and monetize that content as
Brilliant.
well.
So this
But
is
you
this is
just
all definitely going to be very sorry, Anthony, because of
yeah, sure.
the Bangkok internet, we keep losing you from time to time. This has got to be interesting for you, Lenny, with the increase in interest and the increase in traffic that you're getting at the moment.
Totally. I'm just wanted to ask Anthony a direct question about the affiliations of having these particular networks to have in place. How does one get their hands, or say get that meeting with these people to have them as so-called sponsorship, or or working with you on because I got, this is my thinking. So for example, let's say we have a piece of gear and we call it product placement, like headphones, something,
Yep.
and it's Pioneer. Pioneer's a perfect company. And we're using these Pioneers, but we don't have any kind of paperwork or discussion. Is it worth someone starting to promote this and drive the influencers to Pioneer, without having anything in place, professionally speaking?
So you mean like, for example, yourself, like promoting that product, right? To
Right. You
your
said a
audience.
vocal singer or somebody would be having their show like Andy's doing, particularly.
Yeah.
And he's got
Yeah.
his pair of headphones or a microphone from Shure in front
Yeah.
of him. And he says, well, I'm using these Pioneers and I'm using this Shure. Is it worth it for him to push this, not having anything with the companies directly?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually very accessible as a channel. It's very, very easy to be able to get the links that you need to earn commissions off the links. What what I talked about before was that there's the two parties, right? You've got the publishers here. These are the guys promoting the product or service, and you've got the advertiser, Pioneer, for example. So let's say, you know, uh, Andy Ward's podcast here, Pioneer here. There's in the middle of that, the middleman, there's what's called an affiliate network, and that basically manages the technology and the tracking and the reporting and the payments between these two parties, right? The advertiser and the publisher. So all you need to do is you need to just approach the network, sign up to the network, which is free, and look for the advertisers that you want to promote on the advertiser on the network, and apply to those programs. And you'll have a link to your website. So Andy would have a link to his website saying, "This is what I do. I'm going to promote you in this way." They go to the website. They say, "Okay, that's cool," and then they just approve you. And as soon as they do that, you get access to a link that you can then place on your website, and it's just there then. The link is there, and then you can just monetize it straight away.
The important thing is that you only get paid for the physical sales, isn't it? So people they're not really committing anything by allowing you to enter. Am I right in understanding that?
Yeah, the only considerations that they might have is their brand association, right, with any publishers that are promoting them. So usually there's a manual approval process just to check that where they're going to be featured is relevant to where they want to be, so a lot of them, especially in the US, will say, look, we're not going to accept any sites that promote gambling, for example, because they just don't want to have that association. But it's very, very easy. What I'm saying is very, very easy to get those connections with the brands that you want to promote. Mm-hmm. It's so easy.
So how does Lodestar tie into all of this? What is it what service or product do you offer to the people?
So what we do is we help the advertisers, right, to sell more by us managing the relationship with the publishers and the relationship with the middleman, the network. So what we do is we take care of all of this part here, and the advertiser doesn't have to do hardly anything, because we're doing everything for them. So what we're doing is we're approaching the publishers that we think can drive traffic and sales, and we're getting them onto the program. We're joining them up with the network in the middle, and then we're just linking everyone, and we're making sure the publishers are promoting these advertisers over and above others that might be there as well. So we're kind of optimizing that relationship as it is, because that's essentially what the whole industry is based on: relationship marketing. That's it,
right?
And just making the connections.
Fantastic. And is there anything, because as you say, this, we could sit and talk about it for hours. There's so many different avenues, really. Is there anything else that I didn't ask you about that you think is important for people to understand, to help them look into this any deeper, or what is the next step for someone to move forward?
Yeah, because I mean, it might seem a bit daunting. I'm not sure because maybe you're thinking, well, how do I get access to, how do I get links? How do I get access to advertisers? Um, but in terms of next steps, I would I would ask anyone who's listening to think about anything that they really want to talk about that they have the time to put into a blog of some sort. So that would be the next step, is to maybe start getting the content out there at least, onto the online, basically through a website. And then in terms of like getting access to promote advertisers and getting access to the links, um, you just need to know that the networks and what advertisers are on those networks. And a good first step to do that is to go to the advertiser website itself, and usually at the bottom in the footer is usually a link that says affiliate program, right?
Okay.
And then you can click onto that, and then it will give you details of whether they have their own technology, so they have their own program, in which case you just apply directly, or they might be affiliate, or they might be working through a network, in which case you join the network, and then by joining, that gives you access then to the thousands of publishers that they have on the network. In terms of some of the names of the networks that you could have a look at, you could have a look at AWIN, which is AWIN.com. You could look at CJ.com, which is big in the US and UK. You could also look at Partnerize with a Z. Partnerize with a Z instead of an S, and Impact as well. So they're kind of like four of the bigger networks, and between all of those, they cover thousands of advertisers that you can promote if you had something, a niche that you are particularly interested in. It could be, that's what I said, this niche could be anything. It's finding the niche and having that knowledge and that passion to talk about something, because that's where the work is. The work is in creating the content, getting the links, and linking through to promote the advertisers. That's once you join the program, that's quite the easy part. But it's getting content.
I've just had published a comment here from Scott Jenkins. Thank you, Scott, for participating. He says, I own a full service creative agency. We've got some big clients who might be interested in looking at this. Contact me after, please. So whether you and Scott can converse, that'll be great. M&S affiliate program. Ben Chester's is saying, hi Ben, welcome along, and welcome along again to anybody that's watching this. We're going to keep you with us, Anthony, because I'm sure we're going to have some other opportunities to talk with you. But this will lead me perfectly into Mr. Lenny Fontana, who he himself at the moment is enjoying some incredible success, interest from a topic that he is very passionate about, that he spent a long time curating, if that's the right word, the True House Stories. Tell us exactly when you started it, Lenny. Was it over a year ago, before lockdown, just before lockdown, if I remember correct, and then it
2
heightened?
years prior, when I started House FM, or 3 years ago, my assistant Manuel at the time said we should do an after show. And in those days, Zoom wasn't yet available. So I would do it live on Skype with the person around the world, whoever it was.
Okay.
And we were filming it with the iPhone camera, basically through Wi-Fi, very archaic comparing to how we're working all now. So I ventured into that and left it for a moment because life gets in the way, as we all know. We're busy with traveling, working, and doing all kinds of stuff. And lockdown happens. So we're introduced to Zoom. And it opened up. Let me reverse back a little bit. Mixmasters came to me and asked me would I would do some teaching sessions. I considered, I did 3. I liked the way Zoom was handling the job. So I then created 6 modules of production last summer. That was my beginning. That was my beginning of the world of, hey, let's see how this works out. Then the thought process was, well, we'll be back soon traveling, and, with good intentions in our hearts. We left that alone for a moment. I said, I have to now create something that's going to work. So I'm working along with my Karen, who everybody knows that deals with the show, Karen Scargill. She works with Card Power and the whole thing, and she's the one that handles the diary. Karen says to me, so what do you want to do? I said, you know what? I'm going to go back to what I was doing a couple of years ago, because people were interested. It was easy for me to discuss. As Andy knows, we do that around the table when we get together. People who know me know the deal that we can sit down, and if you pour a glass of wine, we're talking about everything that's going on in life. And I always noticed through traveling, doing the DJ gigs around the world, we would always have kind of like people around us just sponging and listening. So it was always something that I enjoyed doing, and I was always looked at as like, I always would say I'm a court jester, the most funniest one in the room. Those that know I like to crack jokes, and I like to keep it bubbly. And it was so we did the whole teaching modules, and that ended, and I was very proud I was able to pull that off. It's such a dark time, and I said, I really need to bring something to people at home that everyone's stuck right now. So I'm not really feeling like making music. I am making music, but I'd rather do something I enjoy doing, which is get a cup of coffee and talk. So I went to Marshall Jefferson and I said, Marshall, I want to create this show. And he's like, what do you want to do? I said, look, I want to have you on and I want to have you discuss your life. He says, what do you mean? I says, I want you to discuss, we've all been interviewed with the same mundane questions, but let's get inside the box. If someone had a camera on your lapel and you were walking your whole life, what they would view. And he said, all right, you sure? I said, yeah. I said, people are going to be interested in this. Trust me. I got a good feeling about it. Because again, I tested the water prior and people loved listening to the real stories, how you arrived to that place. It's not what you did when you arrived. How did you arrive? And that's the key secrets of our business and any business, whatever you do. If you sell lemons and you make lemonade, how did you grow the lemons? What was the secrets behind? What tears came from your eyes? What weights did you have to push to get there? And that's how I approached the show, from an inside track. Let's get inside. Because, people love the idea when they see the guy with the hands in the air and he's already on top of the mixer and everyone's screaming. But when I left my house 2 days ago and got to that mixer, what happened to get there? Or what was it 40 years ago when I began? For some 45, 50 years ago, some of the people I've had on the show have decades and decades of peaks and valleys. In everyone's career, and no matter what you do in life, you have peaks. And like I always quote this on almost every show, and I say Quincy Jones said it. I watched on his documentary. It's not the peaks. It's when you're in the valley and the survival. And how you survive when you're in that valley, when it's dry and the sun's on you, you have no water, no food, nobody wants to be near you, you smell. These are the things people want to know. It's like, how did you get back to the peak? Because the peaks are so short-lived for some, but the valleys are long. So that's where we're at. And every week I created with my two, I kill them every day, Manuel and Karen. We created this thing called True House Stories. And some people ask me, well, does that only mean house music? No. I can actually take a chef, for example, and tell us your story, from your home. Because it really was more like the home story.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
all home.
you have a very good way of interviewing people and making them feel comfortable and getting them to just relay all of the history and stories. And the important thing I think is whenever we are given a platform to talk in whether it's a video interview or a radio interview or a magazine interview, generally sorry, we are or people are having to promote something, so they never want to focus on the negatives. And yet if anyone is like myself in this industry, there's so many times people are so frustrated and they really want to talk about the negatives, and which is one of the things that I do a lot and I have done a lot, and people will know that I do that a lot. And I had the same idea as yourself in the past. I've interviewed people, and it's just like, tell us about the dark times, tell us about the upset, the anger. Even though we like to focus on the positives, there are negatives, and that's why I wanted to talk to you, because we will get back to the success of where you're at now. But tell us about because you weren't always getting these hundreds of live views, these thousands of people contacting you. It was hard getting in front of people, and with your record label as well, and your productions. Tell us about the frustrations of how you deal with that, the online digital world of getting content in front of people.
Okay, so let's go back to 2012. So Manuel and I sit down and we say we're going to create Karmic Power Records. Now, mind you, I come off the old school analog way. Here we go. Fax machine was our contracts for coming through, everyone. Fax. Send me a fax, meaning you put the paper through, and the other side you get toilet paper coming out with the black cardboard chalk markers, right? So this is what this is like. We start with social media. Now, I'm on social media, but the problem is I'm not like Dead Mouse, David Guetta, in that new world. So we put up our first pictures. If I got 1 or 2 likes, it was like a celebration. And you have to celebrate in that mode. You're working towards rebuilding, restructuring. You're at the ground zero.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So to get from 10 likes on a picture was like, wow.
Did you really had those emotions? This is someone
Yes, I did. No, I was
someone
actually
selling
aggravated.
hundreds of thousands of
Listen to
records.
me. I was actually, but we were like 10 piece, 10 likes. I'm like, I'm used to playing at a festival with 100,000 people and I got 10 likes. And you have to put this is a true moment, everyone.
Yeah.
Check that ego out.
This is what I want people to hear, because a lot
Hang
of
the
people are this.
ego up, because if you come in with ego, you're in for a rude, and I mean rude with a capital R, awakening. Truthfully, I had to really put everything I knew away in a box. I used to get so angry, Andy, that I had all this knowledge of the old business model that it is now. Here's the example. Ready, everyone? So when Andy and I were doing what we were doing, it would be like steam power, right? Steam power, or horse and buggy to steam power. And we were so excited over that steam power because it was great. And then these young folks come in with this thing called nuclear power. And you're like, but my steam power was doing so great. Now I have to be retooled on how to work with nuclear. Here's the difference. Everything I knew, I tried to apply to this nuclear way of working, and it was all wrong. So you're getting flags, things that feel like you go, wow, this is feeling good. And it was a decoy for disasters, pitfalls, falling in the holes. And you're like, oh, I would be cursed. I would be angry all the time. I wish I didn't know steam power, because I'm trying to apply what I know in comfort to this new way of technology. So moving forward, here we go. Digital, working the old way with magazines. So you thought the magazines and the papers were the best way to promote. That's not the way to go any further. Now the affiliations are like what Mr. Quinn said, having to work in the digital world and finding your way and not having any kind of map or see, everyone, listen to me this carefully, everyone. Everybody says to you what the end result is going to be. Like, for example, they use that word, you need to have, right, you need to have. So my question would be like this: how do I get it? Because I don't know where to go. And you don't want to say that to anybody because, again, ego is in your corner. I'm Lenny Fontana. I've worked with all these great people. I did all these great records. And yet it doesn't mean nothing. It means no. In this world, when you're in the digital side, that playing field is totally leveled. Once again, now we're moving into today's world with this wonderful thing called COVID, which has now leveled the playing field. It's made everybody work the same way. In pajamas, with my slippers. I don't have to get ready today to do anything because I can work from my computer and I can get shit done. Difference. You have to now push all day, all night, and be in it to win it. Because if you think you're going to just do a little bit here and go watch Netflix all day and then come back and do something else, it's never going to work. So you have to devote all your time if you really want to be successful at this. And let me tell you, it's a rat race. I got everybody around me I'm watching. We're all quickly trying to reforge and reset our clientele, our fan bases to come this way. We're trying to say, okay, now, we're not coming to you. You're going to come to us. You have to come to these programs. We're on this, and we're setting up that. And that's why I did True House Stories on a Wednesday, because I was looking at all the competition. I'm not going to say competition, all our friends doing different things. I didn't want to step on anyone's foot. I wanted to be in the middle of the week, 7 o'clock in the UK time, 8 o'clock in Europe. I want you to be relaxed. I want you to put the kids to bed. And I want you to be able to now say, or, dinner's finished, whatever. And you could sit down and have some time with some of your friends, our superstars that we all revere, and let them tell you their stories. Now, I've been trying to go to people like Pioneer. I've gone to Newmark, Denon. The first commercial brand that came to me and said to me, well done, and we wanted to get involved, was a Amsterdam dance event. They acknowledged what I'm doing. They said, this is what our brand is about. This is what our brand is about. We want to be affiliated with your brand, and we want you to do a big panel and maybe talk about how the COVID and what we did. I said, great. I said, I have no, anybody that knows me, talking is easy. The problem is trying to figure out how to make the speech fit correctly to what we're doing. So I said to AD, wow, this is really great. You guys acknowledge what I'm doing. Holy smoke. So I'm actually doing something that's going a bit overground. Pioneer sent me back a letter. Dear Leonard Fontana. I love when they say my real name, Leonard. Like, okay, you forget that I'm a DJ. All right, whatever. Anyway, Mr. Leonard Fontana, even though your show is absolute success, the age clientele that you are targeting is not in our direction. So we will have to humbly say that we are not going to be able to be part of your show.
Wow, that's crazy.
And I went, you idiots. Everybody who's watching this show has expendable cash.
Mm-hmm.
This is the middle-aged crowd. Are you nuts? Everybody that's buying that wants to be a DJ right now is 35 plus.
Yeah, they're all getting the controllers. They're all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, I can put the controller right here like this. Have it like this product placement, like Pioneer right here, right? And have it like this. And don't you think that I'm going to push you in the right direction if your products we're not targeting.
Yeah, but
So I said,
that's where I think that's where ego comes into it as well.
no, it's fine. And
you
I
took
was cool
offense
with
at
that.
that.
I said, I'm cool with it.
Hmm.
I understand. They're trying to go after the 17-year-old. Look, everybody, I'll make the announcement. I went into, for example, Clubhouse, and I'm doing the Clubhouse show, okay, which is on Thursdays. Dead Mouse came into my Dead Mouse, who's not part of our world, came to sit. He sat 1 hour listening to me and all of us talk. I went the other night walking my dogs down the road, and I go on Clubhouse, and I'm pinged into his room. I just went to go listen. Ready? NFTs. Does anybody know what NFTs are?
I can't believe you brought this up.
Here we go. Wait. So I played with Bitcoin, so I kind of understand. Next thing I know, I'm followed by the speaker, and then I'm brought into speaking position. We start talking. They ask me questions. Dead Mouse is asking me stuff about New York and all the clubs. And I was open-minded. I started asking questions about what the NFTs are, and I'm not going to get into that, definitions of that. And then it just went to a point where I said, Dead Mouse, you hanging? Oh, Joel. Joel's his name. Joel, would you come do True House Stories? And he said, hell yeah. I love what I heard. I love everything about it. And again, that's cross, for me, it's cross. He's got 9 million followers. 9 million. People are probably saying, how dare you, Lenny, bringing him on? Right. You're right to say that to me. But I'm not silly and not stupid either. I know he has a plethora of people that are completely out of our world. I'm trying to cross market what we do.
I think
Our
that
world.
the issue that you have, not the issue, I need to frame this correct, because
It's an issue. I do have issues. My name is Spider. I do have problems, Andy.
I actually had a conversation on your wall when you might not remember, because you had hundreds of comments. You asked about would you be interested in hear somebody on True House Stories. I can't remember the guy's name, forgive me. And I said there are 100 people ahead of him who I'd be interested in hearing their story.
Yeah, you wrote that. I remember you saying.
Yeah, right. Now, depending on how you read that, that wasn't meant to be an insult. It was a case of there are literally.
Oh, I think it was. I know what it was. One of the pop star guys. Like we said, let's just use example. I think I mentioned something about David Guetta or one of them, Calvin Harris.
It wasn't someone as familiar with that. And I just said there's a lot of people ahead of him. And someone, how dare you?
No, they didn't understand. It was
Claude Von Stroke. Claude Von Stroke it was.
I wrote it. Claude, I says, who wants to hear about Claude Von Stroke?
And I said there are a lot of other people ahead of him I'd like to hear. Some guy started attacking me about how dare you don't know about him and what he's done. And I just said, I'm sorry. The way that you're coming at me, you know, I don't have a malicious bone in my body. I'm literally saying there are a lot of people ahead of him whose story I would like to hear. So the reason I say this is because there is a danger when people have a brand and they have a following, and then they try and branch out and attract a different audience. Your original target audience kind of feel alienated, and they think this isn't what we're about. You don't have that problem with True House Stories, because, as you say, there are definitely people who they will enjoy the way that you interview people. They will enjoy the content, and all of DJs, musicians, and artists, they come from the same struggles. So the journey is going to be the same for everybody. It would definitely be very, very interesting. I mean, look at the young guy. My mind's gone blank. Who was the guy who killed himself 2 years ago? And his Netflix special,
Avicii.
Avicii. I watched his.
Got him on interview.
I've got zero interest in Avicii whatsoever, but I watched his Netflix special and it moved me. It moved me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's the same kind of scenario. So yeah, we went off on a tangent there, just talking about anything. So coming back to you telling me about the struggle of the show and all the issues that you went through.
So everybody thinks the feeling of, they look, everybody wants, I remember telling Karen these words. If she was listening, she would be the one to say this. Karen, when people start offering their services free of charge, there's success. Why do I know that? because you got something that everybody wants a piece of, like Jenny on the block said, everybody wants a piece of me, baby. And that's the way it works. And I'm good with that, brother. I'm good with that. Because let me tell you something. You know, it's a hard sell when you're trying to put yourself back in a position where people see you. You're right in front of them and you're invisible. Invisible. Hello, I'm here. No, you're not. They're on Swedish House Mafia. They're on this person. They're not looking at you. You're like the old steam engine again. You're like put into the garage. Oh, that was so great, the steam engine, when it worked back then.
Yeah, but you say you can't take it personally, and this is what I like to relate to a lot of my friends.
And if
It isn't personal at all.
Leave now.
It isn't personal at all. It's just that what you're trying to do isn't necessarily that important to everybody else. Is I 100% relate to that. I'm doing these things on a Saturday afternoon just to help the few people who are interested in hearing what I've got to say.
You're doing a great job.
It isn't that, and it does get frustrating. You think, this amazing content that I've got and these amazing nuggets of information that these experts are sharing, and it's not getting into the vision of people. How can you do that? You just have to step back and say, well, when the people are ready, they'll get to see it. I relate to the same with a radio show that I do. I don't push that anymore because we've got a core network of people. But for yourself, you didn't give in. You kept on. You kept pushing it. You kept getting the great content. Was there a turning point for you? Can you say where the momentum picked up and all of a sudden it's like, okay, people seem to be paying attention now?
Show one.
There you go. Fantastic.
No. Show one was introduction to YouTube and understanding monetization, because Marshall's got a great fan base. So we were able to drive in numbers and start seeing the views, and then it was like, okay. And then it was podcasting. Also taking the show and podcasting, getting iHeartRadio to agree, getting all these things to go on, getting Spotify the platform, getting everything in place. Everything was one on top of another, like step to step to step. I always say doing one step in front of the other, one better than the other. And it truly is that, because each week as you do something else, it's another big thing. Getting some of the acts some of the artists to come talk. For example, David Morales, Louis Vega, Kings of House. People love them. They relate to them. They feel them. It's a movement. Def Mix, Frankie Knuckles, the whole heritage, having heritage people speak and not talk about, the same old stuff. I mean, getting them to talk about where their beginnings were, humble-wise, how it all happened, where they were, who they were with, what went down, and you can visually see it. It's like running a BBC radio program. When I did Legends of the Dance Floor, the Larry Levant story, it was a radio program for Channel 6, and it was meant to be that you were in your house in the 70s, listening to the radio and excited. Well, it's the same thing now. I'm doing it, but we're doing it with the artist. We're doing it visually. Okay. Big pivoter. Ready? When I called DJ Sneak and said to Sneak, I need you on the show because you need to clear the air and let people hear who you really are, because they're taking your stuff out of context.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, the hate mail I got, holy smoke, man. How dare you? You can't do this. He's blah, blah, blah with Manchester and this and that. I says, that doesn't mean nothing to me. Let me tell you all what I said this to everybody. Let me tell you, I'm Lenny Fontana. I don't give a shit what you say. I'm doing what I want to do because it's my show, just like you, Andy. I watched you step out when you needed to say what you need to say. There's times where you got to stand up and say, I don't, most people are like, well, I couldn't put that kind of negative energy on. No, I said, it's not going to be negative. Let's listen to what he has to say. I'm going to guide this right. Okay. Sneak show was so welcome, so loved, so big. It was incredible. It was incredible. Yeah. The amount of people watching today, everybody. We got Carl Cox later. I'm doing a special Saturday show to accommodate his scheduled time. He's in Melbourne, so it's 8 o'clock in the morning there, 4 in the afternoon in New York, 9 in the UK, 10 in Europe. Carl Cox is coming on to talk. Cox is going to rock my box. I mean, this man's going to tell us everything. I'm going to get him. That one of the first questions I'm going to ask him is, you're a soul boy. How do you do techno?
Mm-hmm.
I want to know that. When you got soul up in your heart, it's hard. I don't know if it's easy to make that transition. What made you make that transition? Was that your way in? I'm going to want to know. People are going to want to know.
You can answer that question yourself, because
I know the answer.
No, but listen, that'll lead me into something that I was thinking about when we were going to talk. The music that you began making and that I fell in love with you for, you changed in sort of like the early 2000s to mid 2000s. You were making much harder music. Was that a commercial decision, or you just decided you wanted to go that way? Let's be honest now. So you can answer your own question.
Want me to be honest with you?
Yeah.
I was trying to find my place to keep myself in the game.
Relevance,
and that's the hardship of the balancing act.
And did you feel that you weren't being true to yourself at one point? Were you happy with the output?
It.
Really?
I hated it. I tell people all the time, I made black dance music. People thought I was black in the beginning when they didn't know me, because the records were as black as they come, with some of the best singers in the business, soulful chords. They even thought my name was a show name. They would ask me all the time, "Is your name real?" I said, "Last time I checked, my mother called me that. That's what my name is, Lenny Fontana." My black friends say that, Lenny Fontana. That's how they call me. So I say, "Yeah, that's my name. There's only one dance music." So I would be so proud that I had the friends I had, like Larry Levan, David Lozado, all the people I knew from Paradise Garage, and did all that great stuff and lived that whole era and was able to tell that story in house music. For me, that was an accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
And to hit Top of the Pops with a record that was soulful and it went all the way. This is like, and then it all fades. The lights go dim because you're chasing after now what was easily attainable. It's no longer easily attainable because your people left. They went and had children. They've gotten older. And you're trying to find now your audience, because your audience is not really there right now. They're busy mending their homes,
Mm-hmm.
taking care of the gardens. It's kind of it was a very sad moment for us, a lot of us. 2005, 2006, David Guetta comes out with his album, and I'm like, oh my God, this changes everything that I'm used to working. I hear one piano, bam, 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 bam. I'm like, oh no. No. And I remember having the conversation with Frankie Knuckles, and he said to me, these were his exact words. He says, "You think this only happened to you?" Because I really thought it was only me, Andy. I really only thought it was me. And it turned out it wasn't only me. It was all of us felt this. And we were all fighting to try to, those that wanted to stay in it. Some of the others said, "I'm out. I'm leaving. I ain't doing this no more."
I was one of those.
I know. I remember you told me, and I went, "Why?" And you says, "I don't like the way it's going." And I get that, and I totally get it. But, I've been doing this so damn long. It was like, I didn't want to leave it. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like a woman who didn't love you no more.
Yeah. Well, it's important. It's important for you to not admit it, because you've always said that. But I think a lot of people will relate to it, about you not feeling relevant, you actually truly not being relevant, and then
In public eye. In
yeah,
the public eye.
of course, because nobody can take away your heritage, nobody can take away your credibility. As you say, and it's funny you mentioned about the BBC Six documentary. Only through listening to you on True House Stories did I think, how did I miss that? So I went back to it and I listened to the episode 1 a few days ago. I was engrossed, absolutely engrossed. I wake up
One
early
of
in
my
the
best
morning.
works I ever worked on in my life.
It
was
it
probably
was
the greatest thing I've
really
ever
great.
did.
I've just finished the first episode. The stories, they're talking about the streets being deserted in Manhattan. I recommend it to everybody. Check out. I've got the link. It's actually on Lenny's YouTube channel.
Legends of the Dance Floor. The Larry
Legends
Levan
of the Dance
story.
Floor, the Larry Levan story, the 6 episodes. It ran consecutively every night, didn't it, with Eddie Gordon, another legend from
Gordon
the
was a big
UK
part of it
scene.
too.
Really go and check it out. Legends of the Dance Floor. Truly, you need to check that out. Okay, so then you got to the point where you weren't really touring a great deal. I remember we hooked up in Birmingham. I was over in the UK. I'd long since moved to Spain, but I was in Birmingham, and I think you were playing for Heroes of House. Was it Heroes of House you were playing for? And we met up for a coffee at New Street Station. That was when you were. I mean, it wasn't that you'd stopped DJing forever, but you were starting to get a little bit more momentum back on the scene again. Is
But I
that
never
fair to
stopped
say?
DJing. I never stopped DJing. The thing is, like, again, the relevance of being in the booking 12, or as I would say, the people that they wanted.
Hmm.
Everybody wanted me. It was just I didn't have the profiles like the other guys had from the digital side at that time. I was back to building and, as you would call it, grafting,
Hmm.
basically, to getting myself back in training for a heavyweight fight. I'm back in training on the track, doing it all, taking the best and worst gigs because I'm trying to find my place in the game at that time. And you get a taste of it again. You say, "Damn, I really want this again." And sometimes that taste is not a good thing, because you get one little taste and then you're hanging on to that for a long time, that memory of the taste, until it comes back again.
You're like a house fiend.
Yeah, it's like, shit, you got this taste. You're like, oh, I want that
Jonesy.
food.
Can I
It's
just,
like
I
Cat
just,
Belly in New
I just
York.
want
I
to
want
ask
that.
Anthony, are you okay there, Anthony? Is this enthralling stuff
Yeah,
for you?
yeah, good. Yeah, it's really interesting.
Good, good, good. Okay, Lenny, carry on. Sorry, brother.
Anthony, any relation to Anthony Quinn, the actor, the famous actor that passed?
I wondered when that was coming, actually, especially from someone over there. No, it's a short answer.
It was good though. I was getting ready. I was like, okay, this is gonna be good.
So how did you get back in? How did you get back on the hamster wheel then, Lenny? How did you become relevant again? Because again, you were still working, you were still trying your best, you were getting the gigs, you were getting the noticeable gigs. But even then, as you say,
Okay.
now I think things are gonna change, and this has got to be frustrating. I always find the long way around getting to the point of the question. Now I think after this pandemic is over, it's going to be like, oh, Lenny, can you come and play for us? We need this. And you're like, brother, man, I've always been here. I'm playing the same music. I'm the same person. What's going on?
It's already beginning, Andy.
Exactly.
Andy, they're already knocking at the door saying, "Will I come?" I'm like,
do you have a little bit of sort of arrogance? If arrogance is the wrong word, but sort of
no,
like,
it's just carefulness, brother. Carefulness. You
Mhm.
got to be careful about how and what you do with your brand. Again, I hate using that word because it is a brand. Everything you do now is looked upon as your brand.
Well, that's what Spen said in Spen's interview, didn't he? He said he doesn't even call himself DJ Spen.
Yeah, it's
now.
like, yo, he's the quintessential Quincy Jones brand, the DJ Spen brand.
Yeah.
The same with Lenny Fontana, True House Stories brand. It's
Mhm.
the Lenny Fontana brand. You are working towards. I work for the brand, pretty much.
So
I can relate that.
So what I was saying was, you are the same Lenny Fontana you've always been. And there's got to be that air of smugness about you saying, wow, it took you all this time to realise and now you're coming knocking at my door.
No.
Well, I would. I'd be like that.
Brother,
I'd be like, yeah, pay
no,
me.
I'll tell you why. Because once again, I had to say, put the ego at the door.
Mhm.
You just got to let that go. And you know what? Years ago, in the feistier times, I would have held that vendetta like a mob boss. I'd have been like, I'm gonna really give it to you. I'm gonna really hurt you. But I know I live by this also. It's business, nothing personal.
Yeah, I always
It
say
truly is business. And as much as I hate to say that, it really is business, brother. And you know that too, Andy. We have to sometimes we got to take the gloves off, and then we want to knock the crap out of people. You can't do it. It's not a good look.
when DJs have got their own logos, then yeah, exactly what you said, right? You got, it's a brand that you have to protect. So it's
that's why I never made it as a DJ. I never had a logo or a t-shirt with myself with sunglasses on.
Dude, look. If everyone understands our culture from the beginning of this game, from disco into dance music, R&B, whatever new wave, whatever you did coming up, okay. when you went into a studio to produce an act, it was always about the four-person was the vocalist or the band. It was never a DJ-driven market. That came later.
Mm-hmm.
But we were all, schooled with the idea, if you're working on 10 City, say that's your, or Stylistics, we're going to produce a great song and make a huge hit. And our rewards were, if we got a Grammy for the record or the record became a massive hit, wonderful. But we were never dreaming about, oh, I need that.
Yeah.
So it'll work for my name and my career. People are making music with no quality control. Just throw it out there and let's see if it sticks. So I get my name in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. It's oversaturated. Everything is too much now. Now it's too much of everything. Everybody could be a producer now. Everyone could think they could DJ. Everyone could be you, Andy, behind the microphone. Now,
no one can be me. No one can be me.
You know what I'm saying? And in other words, they're looking at these shows going, I can do that. I can do that. Sure. The question is, can you do it the right way, with integrity, and will it go somewhere?
Amazing. That is fantastic because, and it comes back in line with what Spen was saying. I keep quoting these people because it's fresh in my mind.
Go back to Spen. He's a good man.
I watched it only a few days ago, and it will lead on to another point I was going to make. He was saying your true measure of success is your longevity. Those were his words. And if these people are still around in the future and everyone says, oh, we're going to do this, we've got an idea for a record label, we're going to put these tracks out, and then they get frustrated when they're selling 20 copies or something, because all these numbers of the actual reality of numbers, digital sales, very, very few people ever actually speak about the numbers that they sell, and it really would blow people's minds how few people sell of downloads, digital downloads.
Do you want to know what a track source number one is? Everybody want to know?
Please share.
Can we clarify it for everybody? Okay, so a track source number one could be anywhere between, on a good or bad week, between 75 to 300 downloads for the week.
75
to 150. Now, let me give you some perspective of what that means.
That's insane.
Back to Steam. Hold on, wait, back to Steam Power. When Andy and I were pushing Horse and Buggy, right? We put out a record. Our promo run, just to put out a good record for promo, free goods, most labels would do between 400 pieces, 250, and the bigger labels, 1 to 5,000 free promos mailed out. For example, like a Defected or a Ministry, Strictly Rhythm, they had X amount of people. Just on the track source numbers, you know why that's so low? Because what happens is we're putting the same songs up on Spotify, and the streaming market has made it to a point where you don't even have to buy anything. So you put the records up at the same time they release during TrackSource and Beatport, and you're driving all the people to go and stream it. And then what they do is they magically use something to record it, and they make it themselves an MP3 or a WAV. So why buy the milk? Everyone, ladies and gentlemen, I have a cow in my backyard, and I go get milk free of charge. And that's what that is. Spotify's created a situation where now producers putting out records will put it up on there with the short radio edits and long mixes too. But the algorithms work well with the shorter mixes, 2.5, 3 minutes, because people's viewing time, they don't have the patience to sit 10 minutes and listen, because there's 1,000 trillion things going on a day. So they quickly come in and they'll stream, a playlist in the background, take care of what they're doing as well. It's just basically the diehard DJs that are on TrackSource, and they are fans of all of us. Mm-hmm. And they push to get our music, and they're keeping it alive, because at the end of the day, the normal subscriber who just goes to a club every so often or comes to Vocal Booth Weekender, a lot of them have Spotify accounts, free accounts, and they said, we're not going to even buy the premium account. We'll deal with the commercials in between, and we'll just listen to Todd Terry, Louis Vega, David Morales, Frankie Knuckles, and we'll just, we'll curate our own list, and we'll have it right there. And they can take it with them in the car, on their phone, jogging, whatever you're doing. So The days of the record shop and buying vinyl is now a small niche market. You know, those are for the collectors. Okay. But back in the day, you would have on a good record, ready for this, everyone? So if you had something that was really good, you start at 3,000. And if something is a breakout hit that was going to become a hit, started to look at 7,000 units, 10,000 units. So independent labels were selling 15,000 units of a record before a Ministry, a Defected, a EMI, a Virgin would come to the table and want to take the record and take it overground.
And then start selling hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands. And gold records were created. And superstars were born from an underground scene, from the street. That's how it worked. But now, you don't work like that. Now you work, some of them work in their bedrooms, making these cool records, put them into, you have your own aggregator. So you do all your own A&R, you do all your own work. So you're actually doing all the artwork, producing the singles, finishing them, top and tailing, and getting them ready for release. One-man operations. And some of those records sound like one-man operations, you know? So, yeah, I don't mean to be mean, but I A&R because I get tons of demos for the Karmic Power Records label that we have. And I hear them and I go, oh no.
So tell it, you mentioned about Karmic, coming back to that. How does the land lie with Karmic? How are your releases? Because I still see you send me the mails, but I don't actually listen to any new music anymore. I removed myself from all of the promo lists that I was on.
Why you like Sneak now? You decided to shut all your stuff down on the digital side?
I've actually not I have not considered myself a DJ for years now. So I just stopped listening to new music. I do my radio show of a weekend, just playing all this vinyl, reminiscing about the good old days, and that suits me. That does me fine because.
But you're more like what I call radio personality DJ now because you're telling the stories and playing the music.
Yeah.
You're still the disc jockey. You're just not the club style disc jockey because you're telling stories. Because I listen to the shows and they're very informative and they're very good.
Thank you. Thank you very much for
So
saying.
the Karmic Power Records brand, back in 2012, 2013, Manuel said to me, look, there's no Strictly Rhythm. There was no Nervous. There was none of these labels in New York. And I needed a place to start releasing music that I liked. And I was making because I was like, what am I going to do? I didn't have no Gladys Bizarro to run to anymore strictly. I didn't have no, Michael Weiss. He was around, but he's a lawyer for Louis Vega. He's got the label up and running now. But at that time, you had 25 record labels and a lot of great things going on in New York that I was able to call up and make excitement happen just with a phone call. So it was like, hey, you know what? We need to do a label, Manuel said. Boy, oh my God, were we so well uninformed. And let me use that word, uninformed. Everyone says to me, oh, you're going to do all this, you're going to make all this money. So I had, again, all this idea in my mind that it was going to be like this amount of money being made, all this great stuff. So I turn on the machines, we get everything running. I'm starting to feel to make the records again. And I did. I worked with Alison Limerick. I did records with D-Train. And at the same time, we were licensing records from other artists and building the digital stock, okay? Making ourselves be seen, making sure that we're doing everything we have to do. And I have to give credit to Manuel. There's no way in the world I could have done everything I did without him doing all the digital infrastructure. Because you're running the websites, you're setting up all the music with the aggregators. You're doing more IT than you are creative.
Yeah. In
this world. And that's the difference, everybody. You have to be a good IT specialist to be able to understand how to do websites or just have endless cash. I'm going to be real. You better have endless cash. And let me tell you why I say that. Because you better know how to do back end programming for your websites. You better know how to get to all the bloggers. You better have a newsletter system in place to send out promos. Otherwise you're going to have to pay everybody, and the money that's coming in is not matching what's going out. So you have to really think about how you want to run a record label. you know, and it's an infrastructure, especially if you want to be
properly.
right. If you want to be seen, you know, properly, you know, like Defected, Glitterbox. If you want to be seen and where you're making a difference, you got to do things a certain way. And there's a certain protocol. It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort. And if you're a one-man show, man, it's tough. And we, you know, building the newsletter system, building the Current Power Records website, you know, man, we'll spend days, months, hours, years. It's like crazy. And like as soon as we thought we were finished, we went on to something else, redo everything else again. It's like start again, like whoops, start again. 001 again. And but yet we're moving up the ladder. But I'm saying to myself, okay, so when is it going to get back to what I remember? Again, back to the steam power when it was great times and I had gold flags and we were doing licensing deals. And I'm going, this is never coming back. Never come back this way. So next target, build your brand. That's what everybody talks about. Every DJ talks about. Every record producer talks about. Every record label says, build your brand. You start to think as a producer or somebody who's creative artistically, do I want to lend myself to this brand and give away my stuff if it's not going to have a return for what I'm doing? So you really got to think these things through when you're working with people. Because, you know, everybody, make it real simple. Everybody remembers that Brick Strictly rhythm? You remember, Andy, how hot Strictly was. So you can have junk on Strictly. Junk. J-U-N-K, right? He would buy it.
Don't let Gladys hear you say that.
No, Gladys is what I'm talking about. We would say this all the time. Gladys and I knew what we were talking about. There'd be certain records we pushed the button on. And we knew we were going to be big. That we put a lot of time, energy. But then at the same time, Mark Finkelstein had a machinery in place. I want to release, I want to release, I want to release. 3 releases a week. Get them. I want them in. I want them in. So people bringing stuff in. They would just sign and sign, sign, and whatever stuck to the wall. So here's what happens. We have to put stuff into the marketplace for people to become. So in other words, market share. You're constantly putting stuff in so you're seen. If you let time lapse, 5,000 labels came into place of you already. I mean, because one of the true questions I asked to Spen, we'll go to Spen, I asked this directly. And I'll say, just like I said it to him, Spen, I said, people have told me this many times, you release too many records on the label, and why? He had to take this, I watched his throat go and clear his throat. I said, it's not a jab, bro. This is the questions that come out from me, and I'm just relaying you what what people ask me. And he said to me, Lenny, if we don't do it and we get out all this music, it will be lost basically. And he was right to say that.
It blew me away when he said that a good record.
How long, Andy? How long is a good record? Say it, Andy.
I couldn't believe it.
Andy, say it. How long is the shelf life on a good record? Say it, Andy.
2 weeks. And that's a very good record, he said.
Andy,
say
it slow.
He actually made a point of saying a very good record has a 2-week shelf life. A normal release, a week. I was gobsmacked. And I wanted to ask you about that, because that's disgusting for DJs to play from our heritage. People who will be watching this, who will relate to this, you would have a promo. You would work that for 5, 6, 7 weeks before anybody else had the track. Now, people are putting a record on their radio show, on their mixes a week, and then never playing it again. That's disgraceful, I believe, in my humble opinion. Sorry, I got a bit passionate about that then.
Okay. Let's all dry our eyes, everyone. This is a moment where we have to all thank Andy for being as passionate these years. That's got me up this early, and Anthony Quinn to keep him up this late.
Yes.
So now let me clarify what that actually means. You have to learn to basically, it's so hard to say this, and I hate to say it because a couple people told me this in the music industry. You can't be so goddamn passionate anymore about what you put out.
Nah.
What? I said, you mean to tell me I spent 2-3 months working on a record and I can't be passionate about it? Are you nuts? So I can't treat them like they're children anymore. I got to be able to, like, it's got to be like an assembly. In, out, in, out, in, out. Next, up, in, out. Next one, next one, next. I'm like, and then you start to get numb as you start to see the realities of what's going on. I've learned to do, like, for example, with James E. Train, when I did his record, Allison, we've done remix packages where I extended the records, extended the life, made them into 6-month records. Because what I would do is we would do 4 weeks on the release and then come right again with another again. Boom, right back in the chart again. Because you have to be able to be strategic about it. It's marketing strategies.
Mm-hmm.
You can't surmise and get annihilated from what's going on around you. You got to learn to play the game and be able to fight, but strategically. You know, you can't win the war. You just got to win little battles. That's all it is. Just win a little battle here and there. Keep yourself relevant. Keep yourself in the eyes.
When did it stop being about the music, Lenny? I'm going to get all
I'll tell you when it
emotional.
stopped. I'll tell you when it stopped. When the guy put his fist in the air at one of those festivals, and you saw no CD players on.
Wow, true.
YouTube.
Yeah, and the lighting guy in the back.
The guy put his hand up like this. I don't know what he was saying. Was it the power was off? And he's leading the charge, and they're all dancing, and the fireworks are going, and it's a famous DJ. And I said, nothing's on.
Wow.
Ain't about the music no more, people.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, listen,
That's
let me change the direction of this conversation, because the whole point of this is to inspire and be inspired. And even though that is
have to know, but you can be inspired, brother. But you have to know the realities of what you're getting involved in.
Exactly. So let's bring it back. Is that my phone? No, it's yours. Let's bring it back around then to the good times, the positivity. Tell us where Karmic is now. You're still releasing records.
Releasing records.
What kind of schedule do you practice?
We're doing 2 to 3 a month.
Okay.
Not 2 to 3 a week. It's too much. And I did a lot of old catalog stuff.
Right.
This last year made me pull out, ready everyone, a DAT machine, and start moving a lot of things that were not digitally available to the digital world. And it's actually brought a lot of business in.
Oh, cool.
It's shown me that people want heritage products. Heritage products are like comfort food for people. It makes them understand that it was real what we all did.
Yeah.
We all had a great time at that time.
And we were too busy having it to appreciate it at the time.
Yeah, that too. But we're actually celebrating it with these reunions and stuff. When we were pre-COVID, we would have good celebrations and stuff. So I put out every month. I've been releasing 2 to 3 old classics, and I'll be honest with you, they're selling more than the new stuff. It's crazy.
Brilliant.
You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to say, well, you people keep telling me old is no good. I'm not talking about our friends. I'm talking about corporate UK, corporate America. You guys are shifting to the younger crowd, and I get it. Everybody wants to have that, piece of the young 18 to 25-year-olds with their money in their pockets, and I get it. But don't forget about us.
We're still relevant.
We're very relevant. God damn, I'm very relevant. I'm more relevant now than I was pre-internet. This is crazy.
Okay, so we've been on air quite a long time, and I got to start wrapping up because I've got something else to do in about 25 minutes, and you've got to start getting ready for Mr. Carl Cox this evening. So if anyone has just joined us, Lenny's True House Stories broadcast every Wednesday live here on Facebook and on YouTube. They're available to watch again. They're also available to listen to as podcasts. And this evening he has one of the true legends of the UK scene, Mr. Carl Cox. Just confirm the time, Lenny, please.
9 o'clock UK time, 10 o'clock European time.
Okay, that'll be very interesting. I will. It's too late for me to watch live, but I will 100% be catching the podcast. I was a big fan of Carl Cox back in his three-deck wizard days, so you'll have to remind him about that.
I am going to remind him that how he worked 3 decks.
He was
flawlessly all night long.
An absolute wizard, and big things on the horizon. I'm fairly certain for True House Stories, and we are definitely going to see you back on a dance floor at some point. I will personally be with you on a dance floor, I'm sure, again in the future. Is there anything else that you would like to give a mention to while you're here, and let the people know more about the Lenny Fontana brand?
So really, basically, TrueHouseStories.com covers it all. Or LennyFontana.com, you can actually see everything there. One thing I'm going to say this to all the people, because I inspire. Let's use an inspirational thought behind this. When you hear no, everyone, the word no, just remember it's a yes. Don't let anyone tell you you cannot succeed. You cannot do it. Because you can. I've proven that over and over, that you must work to get it. So if you have to work extra hard to pass that test, then do it. But that doesn't mean you can't do it. You just have to make provisions. Inspire. Inspire to create. Make the dream become a reality. Because many around you are going to say this over and over. Oh, I wish I could have done that. Oh, I wish I would have been on that vacation. I wish I would have done that show. You keep wishing. I hear it and I make it happen, because you have to go after what you believe in. And those that have made it, Thomas Edison created light bulbs and all kinds of stuff, took gas to electric, but not without an explosion in the middle of it. You can't be afraid to fail. The failure is what makes you come on True House Stories.
Wonderful. Lenny, I cannot thank you enough for taking time out to join us, brother.
You're welcome anytime.
Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And
thank you. And Anthony, it was a pleasure and very informative. And I'm very interested in seeing, I would like to get involved in that too. I was very impressed with your thing, what you were saying about the affiliates. Very interesting.
Yeah. We'll connect afterwards, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Make sure. Andy, and thank you, because Andy said we would be a good match. And this is very nice. I was very informed. Very good.
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 There you go. You see, guys, making things happen. And Anthony, thank you for your really in-depth talk at the beginning. Thanks for sitting there. I was going to have you both on individually, so you weren't sitting there just listening, but I'm sure you enjoyed listening to Lenny as much as I did, right?
Yeah, definitely. Really good.
And Anthony's a great DJ as well, by the way, Lenny. You should know.
I do. You do know that. But here's the problem, everyone. We forget about this. It's like, what's DJing?
Yeah, true.
Do you know Sneak made me get my turntables back out? He wants you to play vinyl on his show.
Wow.
I have vinyl players. Listen to me.
Your granddad.
Yeah, I had the vinyl players coming back out to play. I mean, my collection's in the garage waiting to be I'm going to do like Carl does, take a box in and just play. Graham Park told me that. He's been doing that. He plays he takes a box in, and you're rediscovering everything you ever got.
That's why that's why I stopped buying
treasure trove right behind
music.
you. You got a treasure trove there.
I do it every week, mate.
It's library. Take one box and just play.
I'm working my way through the whole collection again.
Plus, you also got what's his name's collection too. I know
Snoopy's. Yeah,
Snoopy's. I know you. I remember when you got it. I went, good on you, mate. Good on you.
Incredible. Yes. God bless him. Okay, then, gentlemen. Well, listen. This won't be the last time, I'm sure, because it's something I'm building myself, Lenny. I thank you, because you actually, I've been on the radio, I've been interviewing people for decades, and yet I'm still learning things. There's things that I gather, I gain from listening and watching you that pushes me forward. So thank you, brother. I love you for that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Anytime.
And Anthony, I'll bid you farewell as well. I'm just going to say a few goodbyes to everybody. I'm going to change this picture, and I'll catch up with you after. Thank you both, gentlemen. Truly appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, I'll go back to that. I don't want to promo on there. Here, it's me. Thank you guys for joining us. Lenny and Anthony, feel free to jump out of the Zoom. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for taking time out of your Saturday. I had one or two people telling me about, oh, why are you doing it on a Saturday afternoon, Andy? The football's on. We're missing this. We're missing that. Well, you know, the beauty of technology is you can always watch it back at your convenience. And if you are watching the recording, thank you for being here. I could have spoken to those guys for hours on end, and I'm sure you guys could have sat and listened to them as well. This is something every Saturday afternoon I'm going to try to do. Why I say that, I'm going to stop myself because not every Saturday. Next Saturday didn't work out, but I have got something rather special for the following Monday. On Monday, the 22nd of March, I'm going to have Moose T joining me live on Facebook at 3 o'clock, and he's going to be talking about all things music production and how it's difficult for him to get his product in front of people. He's going to be promoting some of his loop packs that he's working on and he has for sale, amongst many other things. Mr. Moose T, a legend in the game. Gentlemen, ladies, I was keeping my eyes on the chat for anybody that was asking any questions. So forgive me if I didn't say hi to everybody. So, Carlos, I see you joining us. Hi to Suf. I'm fairly certain, Suf, there would have been some information there that you would have found interesting in your refound love for production and releases. And I'm going to end this here now, guys, because I am going to be back on air in 20 minutes with my DJ competition, Buzzing, it's called. It's on its own separate page. And if you look on my wall in 20 minutes time, I'll be sharing a link for people to come and watch that, but it's totally separate to this, so I don't really like to get the two things mixed up. Once again, gentlemen, ladies, thank you very much indeed. I'm going to bid you farewell, and I'll catch you online next week. Thank you.